Hello, everyone. Some of the ideas we will be discussing today are actually going to build on some of the things we learned in the past. So now we're at least about halfway through Magid. We're definitely deep into Magid, and we're on the portion, the paragraph that starts Bechol dor vador chayav adam lirod et atzmo kilu hu yatzah miMitzrayim. Right, in each and every generation, a person is obligated to regard himself as if he himself had left Egypt. And then we quote Psukim. And our question is, why? What does this add to our Seder experience? And we've spoken in the past about how one of the key aspects of the Seder is about this feeling of appreciation and of praise and excitement for the fact that God took us out of Egypt all those years ago. And one of the elements that we see adds to this is the fact that if we see ourselves as if we have taken out, then we'll be able to emotionally connect to the Seder much more deeply. As to say, again, we see this reflected in the fact that children are an essential feature of the story. Because when a person wants to give over a story to a bunch of adults, then it's kind of more cerebral and intellectual. When you're speaking to a kid, you need to get emotionally involved. The kid responds to your emotion, not necessarily to the intellect. So that allows us to become more emotionally engaged with the Seder. So too, when a person sees himself as if he has left Egypt, right, that'll allow you to kind of connect to the Seder on that much deeper level. And now that's just a kind of quick introductory comment to the bulk of what we're going to be saying. Of course, this is all based on Bernstein's Haggadah. And actually, I heard this from a friend of mine, Peretz, last year, and I had to make sure I got here and saw the comment. So here we are. We're towards the end of Magid, and lo and behold, we burst into Hallel. Right very close after we say that, if not the very, just a couple of paragraphs after we start saying, Hallelujah, Hallelu Abdei Hashem, Hallelu Hashem Hashem. And it keeps going on, and here we are, we're in Hallel mode, and there's so many things to say about this, but at least one of them is, because we have seen ourselves, we've gone through telling the whole story, and what it was like, and what our ancestors went through, and now we're redeemed, and then ultimately, we break into song, we break into Hallel. And that's amazing, because we notice that we don't actually say the bracha on Hallel. Why not? All other times when we say Hallel, right? For example, tomorrow morning, like the next morning, in Shul, when we say Hallel, we're going to be saying a bracha, so why aren't we saying it right now at the Seder? And one of the answers given, and this is alluded to in Rab Hai Gaon's response, is the fact that when we say Hallel at Shul, that's because we're doing the mitzvah of saying Hallel. But right now, we're not doing the mitzvah of saying Hallel. We're saying Hallel because we're actually singing Hallel. That's to say, if we just saw ourselves as if we've just been redeemed, then the natural emotional response is to sing, is to burst out in song. That's what happens. After the Egyptians had been drowned at sea, what did the Jewish people do? They saw their oppressors drown, and they burst out into song. When a person feels happy and excited and good about life, he'll walk around his house singing. So too us, right after we've gone out of Magid, we've told the story, we've been redeemed, we burst into song. And now what's really interesting about this is that we don't even say the full Hallel. We say half of it, and then we say another couple of, do another few mitzvahs, and then we go straight into our full Su'udah, right, into the Pesach Su'udah, Shulchan Aruch. What's the meaning behind that? And then right after that, what we do? We go straight back into Hallel. So what's going on? Usually that's not the way things work. When you have a mitzvah, you fulfill the mitzvah, then you could do other things. When you're at Shul, if you start going through Hallel, and then you're like, hang on, pause, everyone, let's kind of sit for breakfast. Like, well, what are you doing? First finish the mitzvah, get a grip. Nobody does that, and they certainly don't start bursting into like a full Su'udah, or the full feast in front of them. But ultimately that teaches us a really important lesson. And what it teaches us is, the Su'udah is part of Hallel. Again, when a person is full of appreciation and praise, right, us for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or in general, when a person is feeling extremely positive and grateful and thankful, then what do? They celebrate. And they'll celebrate generally with a meal. That's a classic mode of celebration the world over. And that's exactly what we're doing. This meal isn't just kind of a break. It's not like, okay, let's start Hallel, then let's just take a break, and then we can launch back into it. No, it's that the Su'udah is part of the Hallel itself. And in fact, we've seen something similar. On Rosh Hashanah, right, we blow the shofar, and we have the Amidah. Now, interestingly, there are actually many minhagim, there are many customs, where during the Amidah, the Musaf Amidah, people pause as they're doing the Amidah, so that the Baal Tokiyah, the shofar blower, will sound the blasts. And if you look at an Amidah, you'll often see they'll go through maybe the zichronot, and then everyone pauses while they're in the middle of their own Shmoneh Esrei for the person to blow the shofar. The shofar is blown, and then we continue with the Amidah. Now the question is, what are we doing here mixing mitzvahs? That's not usually the way things work. We separate mitzvahs, right? There's the mitzvah of the Amidah, of davening, and there's the mitzvah of Tekiyah Shofar. But here Rav Bernstein again points out, no, what we learn from this is shofar is tefillah. It's not an interruption. Shofar is part of the tefillah. Until we get involved and we see a very similar message here. Here, we're in the middle of the recitation of Hallel, and then we start eating. The answer is, no. It's not that we're in the middle of Hallel and then we stop Hallel and we eat. The answer is, the Seudah is part of the Hallel. And that will hopefully transform our Seudas as we sit for Pesach. You should all have a Chag HaShiva Sameach and enjoy and celebrate your freedom.